folks, welcome back to another video. You join me and the boy up there, if you can spot him, on a very cold day here in North Wales. Bit breezy, not as windy as it was the other day though. I tried to do this video a couple of days ago and the tripod blew over and it was so noisy just from general wind noise that I deleted that video. I don't do that very often, but I deleted it and thought I'd start again. I was going to do it yesterday, went bouldering because we had a rare, nice-ish day, so you've got to make the most of it, haven't you? I said on the last video I wasn't going to do a part 4 in that complete guide to Belay building, but here I am doing part 4. I got a lot of questions about using half ropes or double ropes, same thing, and whilst if you understand the principles from those first 3 videos you should be able to work it out, I thought it'd be nice to have some sort of clear video ideas of what I've been saying in the comments. Really seems like it's worthwhile, as I did call it the complete series. Not that it'll ever be quite complete, of course. Half ropes though, we use them on trad a lot, especially here in the UK. There's some advantages and disadvantages. The disadvantages, I think the 2 main ones are, one, you've got to take 2 ropes, as whilst they're a bit lighter, these are 8mm, these ones, it's still a bit of extra weight to carry on the walk-in, which may or may not be a problem. And the other one is just rope management in general. When you're on the pitch, climbing, you've got to clip the right bits and not get twists and tangles, and the same when you get to a belay, you've got to not spin round on the spot and get twists and stuff there, because as soon as you get a twist, one twist turns into 2, turns into 3, it just gets accentuated throughout the climb if it's a multi-pitch. So they're the disadvantages, I think, but there's some advantages, of course, that's why we use them. Because trad routes often wander around a little bit, it's nice that we can clip like left-hand bits to one rope, right-hand bits to another rope, and then instead of getting lots of zigzags like we would on a single, we can get nice, smoother sort of train track lines going on. And that's good because it will reduce rope drag. And it's like sometimes rope drag is like so off-putting, it sort of pulls you backwards. Some positive implications towards impact forces perhaps as well. Sorry for any noise from the roadworks. So it's nicer in that sense. It does give us the opportunity to do full length abseils. Obviously if you're on a single and you want to retrieve your abseil, you have to double it up, abseil down, so a 50 turns into a 25. Here I can tie my 2 50s together and get a 50-meter abseil, obviously double in an emergency if you're fixing a line as well. And also in the kind of the emergency side of things, if you're climbing somewhere that's a bit exciting and there's rockfall potential, I guess that's anywhere really, but some areas are worse than others. If a rock does fall and chop a rope, well, at least you've got a fighting chance of having the other rope not being damaged, and that could be a game changer, couldn't it? Whilst I don't want to climb on one of these as a single in effect, I'd rather climb on one of these than none of these, so that's an advantage as well. There's other pros and cons, but they're the main ones. When it comes to setting up the belays, we can actually treat them as just a single rope a lot of the time. So I'll climb up here, I'll just use 2 bits of gear that I've got in. You'll see where I'm going. There's nothing that's going to be wildly different from the other videos you've seen if you've watched the first 3 parts. I'll clip one, I'll clip the other, I'll do it up because I always feel like I should. I'll go for the rope belay first, because we are talking about trad climbing and we are in the UK, and it always creates some comments as well. Sorry, fiddling, I've got cold fingers today, I'm not used to this cold weather. We've had some snow and stuff up here and it's all gone, but it feels colder again now. Clove hitch in, you get the idea. Second piece, another clove hitch, bang it in, do that up. I've just basically done a single rope setup there, just happens that I've got another one attached to me as well. One disadvantage of this rope setup is it can use a lot of rope, can't it? Especially if these anchors are further away. They're going back and forth, and if there's a third, same again. Now, with the second rope, what I could do is I could actually, the same as on the route I've been having left bits of gear, right hand bits of gear, I could do the same up here. Fingers are starting to warm up. Now, gone up, clove hitched one. Then I use my other rope, the yellow one in this case, to go up, clip in, do it up. Probably shouldn't bother to do them up all the time, but I definitely feel like I should. And then I do the same. And obviously here, I have used the same amount of rope, but it is split between the two ropes now, isn't it? Do that up as well. As I lean back, same principles, equalise, independent, created an angle, serene ideas, all that kind of stuff. So I've used the same amount of rope, but because it's split between the two, it might have less effect on my mate on the next pitch. If I use a ton of rope on this setup, halfway up a route, and my mate's leading through and doing the next pitch, if I've used loads, they might actually run out, mightn't they, when they're getting close to the belay and they just can't go any further. That's quite problematic. If I've split it between two, I might have bought them an extra couple of meters, maybe more even. So that could be really useful, couldn't it? So I would tend to split them as much as possible. It also does make it a little bit more equal when you're taking in, not that that's too much of a drama anyway, just because you've got the same amount on both ropes there. Sometimes it might save us a carabiner. Instead of saving rope, it might save a carabiner. Now, that was a classic out of reach setup, wasn't it? Right? If I'm going in reach, again, you could just use one rope for this, but you might save a crab by using two. In reach would be clove hitching to one, and normally I'd leave a little smiler rope, wouldn't I, and bring it back to a clove hitch down on my harness. Today though, because I've got the second rope, I can actually clove hitch it in here, do that up, and now I don't need to bring one back to a clove hitch here, do I, because I'm fixed at both sides. So I have saved myself a carabiner for that one, which might be, again, an advantage in the whole grand scheme of things. Now, when it comes to belaying, in these setups, I'll put my belay device just into one rope loop. Could you do it into two? Yeah, of course you could. Could you do it into your belay loop? Yeah, of course you could. I've done other videos on this, but I just would tend to use one. Same as when I do the clove hitches back in an out of reach setup. I'll just go into one rope, keeps it all neat and tidy. It works. There's nothing wrong with two though. Right, so we've done in reach, we've done out of reach. You'll get the idea really, won't you, that if I've got a third point, perhaps I've linked that with the blue rope, and then I could do, various things, but I tend to use a sling actually to change a habit. I'm not going to bother doing them up. My fingers are cold. You get the idea. I always do them up. You should do them up when you use them. You know that we could use snap gates anyway. So I won't, and I'll save myself about 3 seconds. Now what I've done is I've used a sling in there. I could go direct into this one in terms of in reach, because it is in reach. So I've still split the two ropes, and the principles are exactly the same as normal, aren't they? Nothing's changed. You know that I like to use the slings, as I've said, and I like to direct belay if I can, if it's appropriate. It could be, let's say these two are good enough just for the sake of it. I'm just going to go with one rope. There we go. Do that up. Can't get out of the habit really. And then I put my belay device up here somewhere for a bit of guide mode action. Okay. Simple, just the one. One would normally be a little bit more stretchy than a standard single, depends on the ropes actually, but it would normally, but there's so little rope out that I'm not really worried about it, okay? I guess the evolution of that is doing a rope direct belay, because, let's drop that on the floor for a second, covering all bases. Let's just use two again because you'll get the idea, but if I was doing a rope direct belay on half ropes, I'm just going to default. Remember, give yourself some slack on there. Don't forget that you are having a lot of rope out for this setup when you're cutting around on a ledge. Standard half rope twists and tangles there. Remember with this one, to have enough loops and strands out of everywhere, you're going to end up with one loop for that, one loop for that, one loop for me. So I've got 3 loops down here, and that doubles up, so 6 strands coming out the back. Just make sure you give it a quick double check. Try and dress that knot as best you can. There we go. That looks good, doesn't it? And then you can clove it yourself in if you want to, or just come out the back of the knot. Depends what you think's appropriate. Refer back to those other videos. Could I involve a second rope in there and do one massive knot? Yeah, but I just wouldn't really. So Half ropes, they've got some advantages, they've got some disadvantages. When it comes to belaying, we're just ticking exactly the same boxes though, aren't we? So just keep it simple, try and keep away from twists and tangles, so don't spin around when you get up to your belay. Make sure ropes go over when they should go over, under when they should go under, but we're just trying to keep left and right, and then you'll have a happy time. Otherwise it can be a bit annoying and sometimes problematic if you do end up with twists and whatever mid-pitch. So take it steady, have a play with it. As always, chuck the questions in the comments below, happy to answer as best I can. I think that genuinely was the last part of the complete belay building series. I can't remember actually quite what I called it. I'm going to run away because it's freezing. I'm going to go home and put the fire on, and I should be home in time for the Grand Prix because I am a bit of a motorsport fan. Hope you've enjoyed this video, hope it's been useful. If it has, click the like button, smash the subscribe button, find us on Insta, find us on Facebook. I put loads of different things on Insta and Facebook, so sometimes they're interesting things that might be useful, especially on the Insta stuff. So find us on there. Use a buy me a coffee link, all that support, massively appreciated. As always though, massive thanks for watching. More videos coming up very soon.